what if the same supplement that helps you build muscle can also produce amazing results for the brain, cognition, slow aging, and cost less than 50 cents a day?
50 cents a day. 50 cents.
Welcome to the Fit Fam podcast. This guy right here is Doug the Formulator.
And this is Miss Natural Olympia Hilary.
And as you can tell, I didn't see what he had on before I left. We did not color coordinate today, and it's going to drive me crazy.
You usually do that, don't you?
Yeah.
All right.
That's okay.
Black and orange. What's black and yellow? Black and yellow, black and
Yeah, it's black and yellow, and we're wearing black and blue, so I don't understand how.
Black and orange.
Oh, you have some orange.
Black, orange, and blue.
Oh.
All right, here we go.
Not good.
So today's actually a fun episode because we're going to be talking about something that what's so funny is it's a staple in our family forever. Since our kids were born. And it's just like common conversation. But yet there's still a lot of the public that don't know about it. Or if they do, they don't quite understand it. And
so actually, why don't you start with what it actually is?
So we're talking about creatine.
Yeah, but tell us what creatine is.
Okay, so maybe a little history.
A history. Let's do that.
So we'll do a little history lesson.
All right.
And I didn't bring a book. Me and my son Braven wrote a book, and it's called The Creatine Code. I'll have to get a copy. And he actually does a better job of telling history, so I'll kind of go through that a little bit. So what happened was in the early 1990s, way back when, when I was really just getting into holistic nutrition and that, there emerged some research showing that there was this compound called creatine monohydrate that people, when they took it, they recovered faster from exercise. It provided energy in the body, and we'll explain how it does that. And it was just phenomenal, especially for athletes. So research was being done with athletes.
So it was the 90s before creatine was really, when creatine really took off?
Really got going because in 93, when I was hired by the NBA and the Phoenix Suns, no one was taking creatine.
Really?
And so I got with the strength coach from the Phoenix Suns. His name was Robin Pound, and he was like just detailed about research and give me more. It was crazy. And then we brought in a few other strength coaches from other teams, the Miami Heat, Bill Ferran, Mike Burgart, Spurs, and together they agreed to allow me to bring creatine to the NBA. And so those three teams, Phoenix, Miami, and San Antonio, the first teams ever, any professional athletic organization ever to use creatine. And we started putting it in the smoothies, the drinks, and not pretty much every day after every practice, 5 grams.
Because unflavored creatine doesn't really have a terrible taste.
No,
right?
really, they didn't know any
really
different,
doesn't.
right?
Yeah.
And especially creatine monohydrate. And so it got introduced and it started taking off because it became very obvious. So players would go to other teams and they're like, hey, I want that stuff they put in my shakes. And so it started really getting popular. But at the same time, there was a guy named Anthony Almada, and he also was with a guy named Bill Phillips. Anthony Almada was kind of more like the formulator.
Okay.
Right? Bill Phillips is the marketer.
Okay, I remember Bill Phillips.
And they started a company called EAS, and then Bill Phillips wrote that really cool book, The Transformations and all that.
Yep. Wait, no, what was it called? Body was something. Yeah. Dang it, I wish I could remember.
It'll come back.
It'll come to me. Okay.
So they really were, they got the credit for, rightfully so, really getting it out to the masses.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
They put it in the stores, and they were really big on muscle and fitness.
Yeah, what's funny is now that you say that, I actually do remember that craze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like huge.
It was huge,
and, And the reason is people were getting these huge before and afters that they weren't getting before because people were more easily putting on muscle without extra calories. And that's what creatine allowed them to do if they worked out at a way and allowed them to get more energy. So that's kind of the breakdown is people knew about that craze from Bill Phillips and EAS because EAS created a product called phosphagen where they took creatine and they mixed it with sugar because sugar they found out actually helped push the creatine in. And we don't go that route really anymore, but and it got to be #1 selling supplement in the world for a while.
Okay.
And even to today, it is the number one sold sports supplement on the marketplace, because what we found was 3 to 5 grams a day of creatine. It provided the ability of the body to make more ATP. And to explain it, ATP is adenosine, like picture the circle, adenosine. And then there's 3 phosphates. So 3 phosphates.
Got it.
Right? And so if this is adenosine and that's a phosphate, these are phosphates.
Okay.
And they're all hooked to this guy.
Okay.
Boom.
Boom.
And then when the body needs to make energy, one of the phosphates explodes, boom, and that's energy, right? Because that explodes energy. But now this adenosine isn't a triphosphate anymore.
Yeah, because there's only 2.
And it needs one more.
It does.
And what creatine does is it gets in the body and it combines and creates creatine phosphate that molecule can give an extra phosphate to the adenosine biphosphate that only has 2. And now it's adenosine triphosphate again, ATP.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So that it can give you energy.
I love it.
And so creatine just allowed the body to recover faster because it created those phosphates that was like you're working out, and used all your energy, but then the creatine's in there and it gets it going again, puts that other phosphate on it so you can do more. So it wasn't like it was creating muscle, it was creating the ability, if you worked out, to have more energy.
And that's the point. Tell me what the big problem was, because I remember so many people being so anti-creatine. You see it less and less now. But what was the big...
Oh, in the 90s?
Yeah,
2000s?
the big hoopla, yeah.
Well, the big hoopla is it works so well, people say, oh, it's a steroid, it's illegal. Well, it's like creatine, it's found in meat, it's this substance is just creatine monohydrate. In fact, if they had found it, decades earlier, they would have called it an amino acid, one of the amino acids. And so it takes 3 amino acids to make it. And so basically the reason is it was working so well, but there was a factor, because when creatine is taken through the process to be made, if it's not done purely, there can be some byproducts with it that can create some bloating, water retention, if it's not absorbed completely. And so some people were, if you tell a bodybuilder to take something.
If you tell me to take 5 grams of something a day, I'm like, well, then 10 grams is better.
No, 50. It's like
maybe.
Crazy. so the bodybuilders were taking so many, and if they didn't get the pure form, then they were getting some water retention and that, and then people were, having issues, cramps. When in reality, now the research shows that creatine's taken to reduce cramps, muscle cramps, soreness, the exact opposite, even though some of those rumors still go around. In fact, wasn't it Braven that told us what his basketball coach in college?
Oh, yeah, not to take creatine.
Because it was like illegal or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I still, to this day, get those questions if they're allowed to take it as collegiate athletes, and I just am always flabbergasted.
Well, just to put that to rest, the organization that is the most detailed about, I like to use another word, but it's probably not good.
Really, don't. Just use detailed.
Really detailed about, what athletes can take. Like right now, the International Olympic Committee, through what's called WADA, says what you can take, right? As a natural athlete. And when you get tested, so Hilary, if she took even a cough medicine right before she took a drug test, it would show up, right? It would be busted, as if she's taken, some type of illegal substance. And so it's that strict. But the IOC and WADA have come out and said, you know what? There's enough research on some safe supplements that we're going to give you a list of 3 or 4 of them that everyone should take, that it'd be stupid not to.
So it's not just that they're not part of the banned list, it's part of the list that they're saying these are beneficial.
Yeah, which they never do.
Yeah.
And creatine is at the top of the list, right?
Cool. Yeah.
And so anyways, kind of just to finish up there, that history, we found out that it was about that 3 to 5 grams. And then I continued my research, and one of my mentors is named Harvey Ashmead, who's the one that has the patents to be able to make organic minerals and do it like nature does, ferment it in the lab. And we got together and actually created a stabilized glutamine molecule, but also had the discussions around creatine. Can we make creatine even better? And so he bound magnesium and glycine to it to make a patented form of creatine that we use in our Muscle RX, and we got our own patent on it. Whoop, whoop,
Love
whoop.
Muscle RX.
But it's the form of creatine that you need less grams of it, and it really helps with just providing that extra phosphate for energy, right? So if you use up your energy, it makes it so that you recover faster in the moment, right? That's what that is for. And so up until about 5 years ago, 5 grams of creatine,
Right.
that's what you take. That's what the research shows.
Yeah, for muscle performance.
And all of the
Muscle
studies,
and performance.
yeah, all the studies will say, but we're noticing all these extra benefits, and we don't know why. And in fact, one of this big giant studies said, we don't know why, but we think it has something to do with, its ability to deliver these methyl groups and these phosphates to other areas of the body, but we just don't know. And that caused a lot of research to start happening that just has come out in the last 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, so let's talk about the new research, the high dose benefits of creatine. So we're talking 10 to 20 grams a day, and which is my dose.
It is.
Anyways, so what they're talking about and looking at is the benefits to the brain. Okay. So cognition, they're also looking at longevity, and we've got 6 different studies here. So one, we're going to talk about sleep deprivation rescue.
When was this?
So this was 2024.
Okay.
Okay. And the dose was 20 grams in a single dose. Reversed cognitive decline during 21 hours of sleep deprivation. So it improved processing speed, preserved ATP, and improved pH levels.
Okay, so the thing I like about what you just said is the words she said, a reversed cognitive decline. And one of the things that's great about nutrients we always hear is it slows down cognitive decline. It makes it so that you don't have the decline, and we want to go as long as we can, right? But that study showed the reversing of cognitive decline. So the older you get, the more you should take it, especially someone that might have a little cognitive decline.
Yeah.
I know. So don't say it. You were going to say, you should take more.
No, I wasn't. I was actually thinking of other people within my family, and I'm like, don't talk. No. And then, so number 2 is a research study, long-term high-dose brain creatine uptake. This one highlighted the increase of improved cognition and memory, especially in like aging adults. Okay. So I think that's kind of the difference. That's like where people start to lose cognitive function and are aging. This showed...
How much, though?
This one was 20 grams.
20 grams?
A day, again.
So, and usually what they're finding in the studies now, and see if that one says it too, what they're finding in studies now, they're saying you get the benefit in older adults, okay, 30, 35, 40 and above, but in some cases, you get it in the younger adults, but only ones are under ridiculous
amounts of stress.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of the thing to keep in mind here, that creatine is a great supplement. When you're younger, it is fantastic for muscle growth and for energy, right? Right. And as you get older, it has so many cognitive benefits. It's just like, can I tell you what I do?
I'd like to know what you do.
This is what I do. I have a lot of running to do right now because we're getting pretty close to stage. And before I get on the treadmill, I get my little cup and I fill it with about this much water. And I do a little scoop of carnitine, and I do a little scoop of creatine. And that's what I take. And I'm telling you, my runs are that much better on the treadmill. And it's not just that my runs are that much better, it's that my mind is clearer and more with it when I'm running. It's not telling me to get off the treadmill. It's with it.
That combo is makes sense. From as she's saying that, my mind was going, okay, how come? Well, carnitine helps pull the bad fats out, and it also helps with the fatty acids to create more energy. And that's one of the ways the body's energy, especially in the brain. And then you have the cognitive benefits of the ATP from creatine. So the combo is actually pretty dang smart.
Yeah, I won't
Good
talk
job with
about
that.
the nano blue edition yet either. So we'll leave it at
Okay.
that for now.
All
Okay,
right.
number 3 is Alzheimer's pilot study. This was done in 2025. The dose was again 20 grams a day for
Kentucky, wasn't it?
yes,
Yep.
for 8 weeks in participants 60 to 90 years
Oh,
old. So this is like
I wouldn't even qualify.
I was just gonna say,
You were
like
going to
people
say,
like Doug's age.
no, I wouldn't even qualify yet. 2 more months.
60 to 90 years old. So those of us that are a little bit
Mature.
mature. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.
I said those of us. I mean those of you that are mature, like Doug. 20 grams a day, and the findings were brain creatine increased 11% with improvements in working memory and executive function.
Working memory. That's
cool. Like that is cool.
because how many times are you go through the day and it's right there and you forget, right? And so
Right.
like you forget that the name of the book by Bill Phillips is Body
for Life.
And you need that extra little boost. And so it showed working. So in other words, that you don't have to let those circuits work as long to bring that memory up, which is really a huge study, by the way.
It makes sense that I do love creatine so much because Alzheimer's actually on my mother's side does run in the family. So we will keep that.
We'll keep low now.
We'll boost that guy up. Okay, number 4. It was a meta-analysis in 2024. Doug is a big fan of the meta-analysis. The summary was
How many trials?
How
How many trials did they look at?
16.
Boom.
Wow.
RCTs?
16. That's a good number.
Good.
And this is ages. So this is a huge range. So this is in the ages from 20 to 76.
That is big.
Yeah. So showed significant benefits of creatine monohydrate on memory, attention, and processing speed with moderate certainty for memory improvements. So we're talking like.
Yeah, that processing speed thing is huge. And I don't think people understand the power of that. Well, maybe
I think
you do if you think about it.
That.
Like processing power is so big because a lot of the nutrients we recommend to people, are for flow and energy and focus, but processing, that's just huge. And we never listed creatine as what in that compartment of nutrients. That group of nutrients for that we call nootropics. And you just never seen creatine in it, but it really is a nootropic, right? Huh?
I love me some nootropics.
You do love some nootropics.
Okay. And number 5, this was public and news summary. Creatine may support cognition under stress, like sleep deprivation that we talked about earlier, and in aging, but benefits in healthy young brains under normal conditions are limited. So that's what we were talking about. And then also safety remains strong for normal kidney function.
And when you brought up that about people talking about creatine and problems, that's one thing that keeps coming up too, is kidney. Because when you do a blood panel of people, one of the markers is called creatinine.
Yes.
Not creatine.
Yes.
And if the creatine is not made properly, it can increase creatinine levels in the body. And so many times medical doctors would see people, young adults, especially athletes, with higher creatinine levels, and like, oh, you take creatine, go off it. That's the whole reason, creatinine levels are high. Not taken into account, it's usually hydration and other things. So it did get a bad rap there, but most medical doctors now understand or have read the research to realize that that's not a factor.
Yeah, and just since you mentioned it, not that it's related, but I just want to point out, stay hydrated. I feel like so many health conditions and so many issues come up, and we are trying to pinpoint it, and we forget about hydration. We forget about the importance of water.
And creatine can cause some dehydration if you don't drink water, because in order for creatine to work, it takes 2 moles of water to 1 mole of the creatine. In other words, it uses water.
Okay.
And so if you're already pushing it and you're not drinking enough, absolutely you get dehydrated, then that could affect the kidney. But it's the dehydration that's affecting it. So that's a really good point. Yeah. I think that we've seen more than anything when people come to us or even in the gym and stuff, and they're struggling like, did you drink water?
Listen, even myself, there's been times where I'm like, I'm doing all the things correct, right? And I'm filling my brain with all of the proper things. My nutrients are up, and I'm in the gym, and then we're like, wait, what's the one thing missing?
It's
Hydration.
true.
And dehydration will cause a lot of
Yeah.
issues, not just physically, but mentally.
And we go to pretty good lengths to ensure that water's available in our gym for us and people because it's so critical. We got
Right.
big old giant glass, 10-gallon bottles in there and stuff. And it's really important. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Stay hydrated. So let's wrap things up. Higher doses show promise for stressed, aging, cognitive vulnerable brains. Got it?
Do you have a vulnerable brain?
Apparently.
I think we all have vulnerable brains.
But might not add as much for healthy young individuals under normal conditions on top of the great benefits for muscle
Oh,
and
that's a
energy.
good point.
So,
Like everyone can benefit from the
correct.
muscle and the recovery and the ATP. They're just saying, unless you're under stress when you're young, the 10, 20, 25 gram doses, they didn't show as much improvement as older.
You know what? I'm realizing why creatine's so good for me.
Why is that?
Could you imagine how stressful it is to be married to you?
You don't need any then.
Creatine
Yeah,
is
please.
really
So,
wonders.
so let's go through like dosing before workouts now, because forever everyone knows us, is that we'd always take 5
Yes.
capsules of Muscle RX before the workout and 5 after. That gives you the 3 to 5 grams of the different forms of creatine, the patented form, the creatine monohydrate, and that.
And just to add, not only are you getting that with Muscle RX, you're also getting the benefit of the branched chain amino acids. You're getting the benefit of glutamine. So, anyways.
And so now, this is a good way to finish up because we're going to go back to the origin story.
Okay.
Okay, so I was big on creatine, right? Everything. We're in the NBA. Bill Phillips did his thing, and creatine was huge. And then about 9 years ago now, I was at it's the world's largest convention and show for formulators, chemists, raw ingredients in the world. And so it's not the most exciting show that I would take Hilary to. Some shows she liked because you get all this free stuff. Like she didn't like that one because it's just powders and herbs and stuff, right? So
Happy to be there. As long as I'm
so I ended up taking Braven that year, right?
No, I think I was there too.
Were you there?
Yeah, but I just wasn't with you guys.
And he was, how old was Braven at that age back there? So 2016, 9 years ago. So 19, 18, around there.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere around there. And he could tell, well, he got bored because I'm talking to one of my mentors and they're going really deep on all this stuff. And he's there and he's being really good. But then he just kind of wanders off. And then when I get through, he comes over and says, Dad, come over, check this out. And he takes me over to this random booth. I don't know what the heck, how he found him. And there's this guy and he went behind the counter and he grabbed this little white baggie. And I'm like, what's going on? And he took his scoop and he put it in the water and stirred it and it just dissolved. And he's like, that's creatine. And I'm like, no, because creatine doesn't dissolve that easy. And you get little granules, it tastes like dirt sometimes, right? And it's part of the problem of some people getting a little bloated. And he's like, no, they made the world's first instantized creatine, like only completely soluble creatine. So Braven actually found it. And we negotiated, and finally got the rights, worldwide rights to that form of creatine. Parent company we started, Gains and Bulk, Braven, bought that and has ran with it. And most people around the world actually, kind of like Bill Phillips now, knows Braven and Gains and Bulk as the creatine company.
Yeah.
And so that form of creatine is a form that I recommend you get now when you're doing higher dose. When you're going above the 3 to 5 gram, and you can still use it for that too, because it's the purest form of straight creatine out there. But the 3 to 5 grams above that, so when you're needing the 10, the 15, the 20, for those that have now seen this podcast, like I'm just going to start taking 10 or 20 a day, I'd recommend that form. So we, before workouts, we take creatine. We just actually launched this is actually licensed, only one ever licensed from Gains and Bulk, but for Optimal Health Systems, the instantized creatine, the one that Braven found. We just launched this, or see him launch it real soon. And this is the one that you take before the workout.
Right.
This is what you load, the whatever, 5, 10, 15 grams, 20 grams worth. And then still, for me anyways, that I push for Hilary to, after the workout, we take 5 of the Muscle RX because we want the extra glutamine. I want that other form of creatine in there, just from the recovery standpoint. And so that's our dosing. We get asked quite a bit, like, what do you guys do? We do that. I'm actually going to start tonight taking like 10 grams right before bed, just because of that research on that.
Perfect.
To see if that
and
actually
we'll
helps
report back
with sleep on it.
I love that.
We love creatine.
do.
It's been a staple in
Love
our,
creatine.
our life forever and ever. So that's when you said it's kind of funny talking to people when people talk about creatine like being this weird thing or a steroid. It's like, wait, it's like normal in our life.
I don't remember a time that I wasn't taking creatine.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff. And so anyways, let us know what you think of the creatine. We'll put the links to the creatine, the Muscle X, and the other creatine
And maybe the
in the
booklet
bio.
as well.
And the book, if you guys are interested in the
Yeah.
book. It's a really deep dive book. It's really, really deep, has all the research and stuff in it. So make sure that if you do want the creatine code, it's not one of those little reads. It's pretty in depth.
I mean, it's a short read, but it's an in-depth read.
In-depth read.
There you
Absolutely.
go.
So as always, this is Miss Natural Olympia.
And this right here is Doug the Formulator.
Keep chewing.
See ya.